Do you think that German society has become a little bit, for the lack of a better term, soft?
Americans are the descendants or the people who left their home countries.
Does it also make us more complacent?
Absolutely.
Does it make us less competitive?
Absolutely. Today's podcast is with my good friend Javier from Madrid, Spain. We were former football teammates together on the Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns. However, in this podcast, we actually hardly talk about football. We talk about a lot of topics that we are both pretty interested in, from history to society to cultural differences. And this was one of my favorite conversations that I've had in recent memory. So I hope you do enjoy it. You can skip around and check out the topics. They're time-stamped here, so you can bounce around to stuff that you're more interested in. But I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope you do too. Without further ado, Nauf and Javi.
We're going, man.
Finally, we're doing it.
Javier!
After, since 2018 that I met you?
Yeah.
At the Goethe Institute?
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we met.
We were doing the Goethe at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you got in a fight with the dude, not in a real fight, but like in an interesting disagreement. It was friendly with the dude from Barcelona about the...
Oh, yes, I did.
About
independence.
The independence of, what
issue.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Catania? What is it?
Catalonia.
Catalonia. Okay.
Catalonia.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I remember that. That's ingrained in my mind. Very interesting.
Wow. I totally forgot.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
And I was like,
yes, I
wow.
do.
Because I was like, oh, Spanish guy. They're going to be boys. I mean, you guys were fine. Like, it wasn't...
We were okay. We were okay friends, but there was a big divide, in our opinion, that's for sure. The things that... So the referendum, if I'm not mistaken, to decide the independence of Catalonia from Spain took place on the 1st of October of 2017.
Okay.
So this was just not even a year after that when we met. In 2018, in the summer of 2018.
So what is the deal? They would like to be... They're one of the separatist groups that they would like to be a separate country.
They would like to be a separate country, yes.
Okay.
And they've been wanting to be one for a long, long time. They've been fighting for their independence.
Were they ever a separate country?
No.
Okay.
They never were. No.
Is it so much different culturally than the rest of Spain? So, okay.
I don't know how many listeners you may have from that region of my country, but... If you do have a lot, I'm sorry if I'm ruffling someone's feathers.
It's okay.
The difference is not even perceptible. The language is slightly different, but it also derives from the same origin. So it's a Romance language as well.
Okay.
A mix between French and Spanish.
Oh, really? So so they're not speaking Spanish.
No.
Not.
Well, they do both.
Okay.
Usually at home they speak Catalan.
Okay.
And sometimes in school as well. But then normal life takes place in Spanish as well.
Yeah.
So they mix both.
This is one of the most interesting things in the world to me is these type of cultural... I don't even know what you would call it. Just these cultural situations of geography, culture, people, history. Yeah, tension. Yeah, you could call it tension. But
the feeling that they pertain to something different, which in my mind is quite...
Do you feel like... Is it a tension in Spain? Is it like...
It has been boosted or... pushed forward by politics.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, definitely.
So,
It has also been used as a method to brainwash our societies, both.
Interesting.
Against each other, obviously. The thing is that, if I'm not mistaken, they must know this. Right now, if they become independent, it would be such a drop down on every single aspect
of their
lives.
Yeah.
No euro, no fair... market trade, what do you call this? Free trade within the European Union. They wouldn't count on the same benefits that we do because they wouldn't be a part of this big European Union association.
Do you know how many people live in that region?
If I'm not mistaken, it's 9 million people.
I'm sure you're not mistaken. You never make mistakes.
Sometimes I do. Coming here was one. No.
Yeah, inviting you here was one of my big mistakes.
If I'm not mistaken, it's over 9 million. Okay. Slightly over 9 million.
And then what's the population of Spain as a whole?
47.
Okay. And trivia, what's the population of Germany?
83.
Good. All right. Good. You're passing my test.
Turkey.
Okay. And As of my research for my YouTube video yesterday, about 15.8 million people in Germany are not from Germany. Guys like you and me.
No way.
Yeah. Nearly 16.
Expats?
Yeah, expats or foreigners.
Romania,
Yeah,
Russia,
all
Poland.
countries, yeah. Germany has the second
Wow.
highest number of foreign-born residents in the world. Behind, guess? Okay, good. Yeah. Italy.
But is it... No way.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. My other country. Behind the United States, we've got about 50 million, according to this website I saw.
We've got 15% Hispanic,
Yeah.
13.4 African American.
Mhm.
Asian is like around 12,
Okay.
14, I believe.
You're rattling
And
these stats off your head?
Whites is 65%.
That's impressive.
Yes. So the things that people... This is a conversation that I had with Rudy,
Okay.
Devin, and Brandon
Okay.
In Berlin
Okay.
at a cafeteria, or like a coffee shop. And I asked them how many million they thought there were in the United States, or the percentage.
Of
So
black people
40%.
or of...
Yeah, like 40%.
Okay.
Well, it couldn't be further from the truth.
What is it? 13?
It was 13.8. So
Mhm.
13.6. There are more Hispanic people than
Yeah.
African Americans.
There's an
As
interesting...
far as it may be to believe. Sorry.
There's interesting... No, my bad. I love looking at like the maps where you see, and it like breaks down by each state,
Yeah.
and it shows the primary heritage of
Yes.
the people per state.
A lot of Germans.
It's a lot of Germans.
A lot
like,
of Germans.
especially in the Midwest.
Yes.
Like, those are fascinating. And then, obviously, in the South, closer to the Mexican border, you have a lot of Hispanic people and stuff.
And the belt, the South.
Yeah,
It's African Americans.
Yep. Super interesting. This stuff, like, this sort of... What would you call that? Is that anthropology? What is that?
Demographics.
Demographics, sure.
Anthropology is the history of human beings. If
How
I'm not mistaken.
dare you correct me on my own podcast?
Oh, your
Javier.
podcast.
Cut this out. We got to cut that out. Okay, that's right. That's good. Interesting. Did you think that we would start the podcast like this?
No.
Me neither, man. This is
You
what
were
I...
gonna ask me.
This is what I like about doing the podcast. You just have no idea where it's going to go. Okay. I do want to get a little bit. I want to get to know you a little bit and let the people get to know you.
You know me more than enough. I understand that they may not know me that much, but you know me.
Well, they're the guests. So, I want you to tell me. I mean, obviously, you are from Spain. You're from Madrid, Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell are you living in Germany right now? Give me the full story.
Full story. I'll give you the key factor
Sure.
that pushed me to take the leap.
Okay.
2017 or 2016, I think it was 2016. Moritz Böhringer was drafted by the Vikings.
A couple weeks ago, he sat right there.
Yes, I saw that. He was drafted, and he was the first European player who had not played college, right?
Yep,
Straight out of here.
Correct.
And I said, oh shit, if he could do it, so could I.
Mm-hmm.
And I came here, I don't know if you remember Danny and Mario.
Yeah.
They came out here as well. I came to see them in 2016. I watched you guys play against Berlin, the rainy game.
That playoff game, quarterfinal game. I remember that.
Exactly, right there.
Nice.
At Optima. And then, I tore my ACL in 2017, so I couldn't come out here to play. And in 2018, I decided to come, play. And my dream was to learn how to play football, because in Spain... So things are being done quite well nowadays, and it's growing exponentially. But we're like light years away from Germany still.
Yeah.
When it comes to infrastructure, organization, like the way that the clubs are built, it's not so... If I'm not mistaken, I think that Ian said the other day that Germany has the biggest fan base outside of North America.
Oh, yeah. I
NFL?
believe that.
Yes,
For sure. I mean, that's why Germany was the next country to have an NFL game. Yeah. And it was crazy. We'll talk about that in
It
a
was
second.
a way better experience a great experience. I cannot say better than in Tottenham, than in London.
I went to a London game once. That was the first one I went to. And yeah, absolutely, the Munich game was
Better.
way better.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So, okay, keep going.
And where was I? Yeah. And so I came to visit them. In 2018 I came. I did not have my license processed in time, so I couldn't play that year. And then I was just a scout. I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
In the summer when we met.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2019, the same thing. 2020, Corona struck. We had a great year.
It's great.
And then in 2021, I came back to Osos because my dream was to learn how to play football, and then, thanks to the knowledge that I would have acquired here, go back and win a championship for my hometown team.
And for those who don't know, Osos is your hometown
exactly.
football club in Madrid.
7 minutes away from my place.
Okay.
Where I grew up and where my parents live. And well, in 2021, we had a really good run. Mike Gentili came to play for us. Garrett Delekai, Herbert Gamboa was our DC. Well, we had a great season. Then 5 days before the semifinals, I had a little wreck with my motorbike. I broke my foot. And
you and me both, man.
I couldn't play, no matter how many things they injected in my foot, no matter how many horse drugs they gave me, I couldn't play. And unfortunately, on the very first play of the game, our quarterback went down with a torn elbow. It was destroyed, all the tendons. It was an absolute mess. And well, we lost the semifinals, and then I decided to run it back. And in 2022, we finally accomplished our goal. We won the championship, and then I announced that I was officially retiring as an Oso.
Okay.
Oso de Madrid. Excuse me, I shouldn't say it in English.
Okay.
And then why I came here again. In 2019, the day that we lost to Braunschweig.
Yep.
Commerzbank Arena or Arena.
Remember that.
I made someone a promise, someone who is no longer part of the Unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it to him and to myself. And since that one person is not a part of the staff anymore, I had to at least hold myself to my word of winning a championship for this team.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So the promise that you made between you and this person,
Mm-hmm.
You
Who
feel
shall not be named.
he who shall not be named, Tom Riddle, Lord Voldemort. So you feel that
Don't call him that. A lot of people would be happy to call him that.
Hufflepuffs. Okay, so you're basically holding up the promise that you made basically to yourself as
and
well.
to that one,
and to that individual.
Lord Voldemort.
Uh-huh. To come to Schwäbisch Hall and win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, if everything goes according to plan, it may be my last season.
Yeah. How do you?
Awful.
Yeah.
If I think about it, I tear up.
Okay.
But I am also looking forward to moving on from this phase of my life that has been extremely important, but it's also a little bit draining at the same time.
100%.
You know,
I know
it
it
feels
100%. Yeah, it's a little bit.
Too big of a commitment.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's a huge commitment, and it takes so much out of us, and it's like it must be your primary focus in your life for so long, and so yeah, it's like I'm entering that time right now, adulthood, and it is very strange, but it's also like there's cool parts to it too. Like I have so much more bandwidth to do other things.
How are you dealing with it now?
So far, it's
After
not.
How many years?
18.
And professionally?
7 or yeah.
Out here, right?
Out here, yeah, for the same team, for the Unicorns the entire time. I think it'll get much more difficult once the season starts, probably.
Oh,
right now it's just like, but once...
You're missing practices,
yeah,
but not
practice,
games.
it's fine, but once I see a game, I'm like, oh, shit.
You start coming to the games,
Yeah,
you start...
Then I think that's when it will get difficult. So, I don't know, we'll see. I'm very early on into it, but
We're a month away.
Yeah. My advice to you is to cherish this
Yes.
possibly last season.
Mm-hmm.
My advice from this position of wisdom and knowledge and genius and mentorship.
You said that such a douche.
So what would make this season a success for you? The season with for those who don't know, you're playing with the Unicorns, Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns. What will make this season a success for you?
Oof, I've got one goal in mind. I want to win that championship for this team and for myself as well. I always picture myself, I tore 2 ACLs, broke a foot. Now, I got hurt 2 weeks ago in practice because someone dropped someone on my knee. And if everything goes well, which I hope it will be for me, it will be such an accomplishment and because I would have overcome things in my life. And not only playing for the GFL, but also the DBL2, if we win the championship with the girls. For me, those would be my two biggest objectives.
Yeah.
For this season. For this season.
And for those who don't know, that what you just said there, that is the Unicorns women's team that has just started this year, who you're one of the coaches for, with a lot of the kind of our friends and stuff.
My staff,
the
coaching staff, Mike came up with it.
This is a requirement. The mustache.
Yeah.
Wow. Does Rudy have one right now?
No, but I guess that he will.
Rudy has one of the best mustaches that I've ever seen in my life.
Go
watch. He looks like Freddie Mercury.
Yes. He's like a caterpillar.
Yeah.
He's the thickest mustache I've ever seen in my life. Yes. It's like a brush.
Gleaming, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the mustache. Okay, so to win a German Bowl and then to also win the second division that the women's team is in to advance and be promoted to the first. Okay. How's that been going, balancing coaching and playing?
Oof, complicated.
Yeah.
Because right now, so I work at the academy, the Unicorns Academy. I coach for the women's team and I play for the GFL, plus my business, my e-commerce. I think that I have taken on too many things this year, and all of them are taking a toll.
Yeah.
I'm the bottleneck of my own life. But so far so good. I mean, I don't have a lot of free time. This is my free time right now.
I steal your free time.
Yes.
I demand
you leech. But, I mean, I'm loving it. I'm having a great time.
That's an interesting thing you just said there. You're the bottleneck of your life.
Yes, I am.
Elaborate a little bit.
If I didn't have... So right now I have 4 things, right?
Okay.
4 things that I have to deal with on a daily. Academy, women's, GFL, business.
Yeah.
If I didn't have 2 of those, I would be able to allocate much more time to the other remaining 2.
Right.
So since I have to split myself into 4 pieces, I cannot put my all into any of them.
Right.
Because I can't. I'm
encompassing
a lot of things.
I mean, I have a similar situation. I understand this for sure. Excuse me. Can you tell me a little bit about your business? What do you do?
It's football equipment. Well, football and athletics. So sports equipment supplier.
Okay.
That I started a long time ago. Then it collapsed in 2020 because the market crashed, obviously. And then we rebooted it in 2021, officially on the 25th of May of 2021. And so we sell American football equipment.
In Europe?
Mostly.
Worldwide?
Worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah, worldwide. We've had shipments to Mexico, the United States, North America, Australia, Japan, and Europe.
And this is something you founded?
And Turkey.
You started and founded it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, man.
I'm the co-founder, CEO, whatever you want to call it.
Businessman.
I wanted to have a job that would allow me to carry my office in my backpack, as I said before.
Yeah, that's super valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Do you enjoy doing that?
It's not my dream work,
okay,
but for the time being, I don't want to say that I feel proud, but it also gives me a little boost of, how can I put it, confidence or accomplishment, because I have been able to do something that I pay my bills with, and sustains my lifestyle, and I didn't receive any help.
I really respect that. That's awesome. Man.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. You should feel like accomplished for that. That's like a cool piece of the puzzle of life to figure out, and to be able to do that and have it mold into this life that you want to live right now is pretty impressive. Not everybody can do that. What's the name of the company?
Narian Athletics.
We're gonna put the link.
Narian Athletics.
Put the link in the description. So if anybody needs football equipment, buy it from Javier's company. And I get what, 90% of all sales from that link? 95.
Okay. I get sales. I thought you were gonna buy equipment. I was like, okay, I give it to you for free. No.
Use discount link now.
Ooh. Hey, I'm not kidding. We can do it.
Can you do it?
Yes. Definitely.
All right, 10% off using promo code NOUF. Can you set that up?
Okay, let's do it. 10% off.
Cool. Link in the description for Javier. I just give you a free advertisement. All right, great. What are some of the largest cultural differences living in Germany from your home country in Spain?
I would say the biggest one could be how serious we take life. Right?
This is great, yeah.
I would say that in Spain, we are much more... God, my dad is going to kill me. Much more fun-focused. So we try to enjoy our lives or live them to the fullest without thinking of what may come tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Germans are much more conservative
Mm-hmm.
and much more risk-averse, I would say.
Yeah.
But then living in Germany is excellent because everything is neat, everything is organized,
Right.
they're really punctual. Bureaucracy is a fucking shit show, but how can they be sending you
Don't.
3 or 4 letters every single week
Don't
for the
even
bank?
get me started.
Push down,
yeah.
and then push down app, and the baby. What, dude? What are we doing?
Yeah.
You need to go through so much paperwork every single time that you have to process something.
I can't
Technology
even
era.
I can't even
Well, the
talk
payments,
about it. I can't even talk
cash.
about it. I cannot even talk about it. Next subject. I cannot talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, I like
get
this though. What you
triggered.
said right here, because that's interesting. That you sort of get that answer, that feeling, in general with like Southern European versus Northern European cultures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you can kind of say similar things maybe about Greece and Italy and Spain, Portugal.
Yeah.
I mean, is it just that it's just way sunnier and
it is?
nicer there?
It's the climate.
Yeah.
Just think about. Okay, I'm gonna venture into murky waters here. But
There we go.
The further you go away from the equator,
Okay.
the more developed countries tend to be,
Mm-hmm.
because they have to fight against the inclemencies of the weather. And the closer you are to the equator, the easier it is to just live life, because you have everything given to you. You don't have to find shelter. You don't have to fight against a freezing winter. It's not like Canada.
Wow.
You don't have. It's not so. If I'm not mistaken, your ingenuity is not so stimulated as it is in the north, because you don't have to fight against wolves or something that is trying to freeze you to death.
Yeah.
So if you have access to water, food, and shelter at 25 degrees
Celsius.
Yeah, not Fahrenheit.
It's like 75.
We don't do that. We're in Europe.
What an interesting little theory or perspective.
Just
I mean,
think
it's just
about it.
like, you think about like the most developed and sophisticated countries by many measures are the Scandinavian countries.
Yes,
The
Northern
and
Hemisphere.
and Iceland. And like
with the exception of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and all those ancient civilizations, but as of right now, nowadays.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Wow. That
It's
is
like a
murky.
belt.
That is murky waters, but
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Wow.
Am I gonna get lynched on the street?
Very interesting. I love that. I do love this type of stuff.
Just think about it.
Yeah.
So, for example, in Madrid right now, it's like 21 degrees.
Okay.
Everybody's out and about, having fun, doing things outside. Here in Germany, it's like 3, 4 right now.
So
Yes.
cold
Yeah.
here right
Yes. So that's the thing, that these countries bind themselves into a hibernation for so long that when they want to wake up, it's already too late.
Yeah.
Not too late, but they start waking up in April. Whereas in Spain, we started in February.
Yeah.
Or
Wow.
the sunlight. Sunlight, for example, is a huge, drastic difference in between the two countries.
This is absolutely fascinating.
Mhm.
I want to
Because
think.
it's bright outside until 9.
I want to think about this more and probably talk to you more about it after I think about it. It's very, very interesting. I want to talk a little bit about yourself as a person.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
And these are just some things, some things that I think are interesting questions to talk to another human being about. And I would like to know, what is a character trait of yours that you are proud of?
Proper term, resiliency and tenacity. Slangy, I do not take a no for an answer. I refuse to. Can I say inconformist? When you do not conform to something? I don't know if I'm just translating. Inconformista.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually the
Spanish
word.
speakers.
I have a very, very limited knowledge of the English language.
No,
that
you
could be a
don't,
word. I know what you mean, though.
Discontent-
Nonconformist.
Nonconformist.
Nonconformist, I
Nonconformist.
believe. And not sure.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe that is the right term.
Tenacious, relentless, nonconformist. Can you elaborate a little bit on you having these characteristics? I mean, you talked a little bit about it, perhaps even the story of your football career and the football trajectory with injuries and battling back.
I refuse to live a normal life.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to live a life on my own terms. Okay. Like, I don't want to say that I don't want to fall prey to the system, but I don't want to be just a worker. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be a big worker, 9 to 5, come home, go to the gym, and just look forward to the weekend. Yeah. And so far, I have managed to find a way to live a life that I'm really happy with on my own terms. And I would like for it to be this way until I say bye-bye.
I like that a lot, man. I mean, I sort of feel the same way. Like, I value non-conformity as well. And kind of just, just a word.
10%.
Just kind of, promo code Javier on that one. Yeah, man. I think that's those are some beautiful traits to have.
But that's what you are, dude.
Yeah, I think so as well.
You dropped out of school, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You came out here to live your dream, and now you have made a livelihood out of your dream.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
That's something that we have in common.
Yeah. Look at us.
We take a lot of showers, and we have that in common as well.
Not together. Javier's referring to himself also having a slight germophobia like I have. But no one has as good a germophobia as I have.
No.
That's awesome, man. I like that a lot. I really respect that. And I can see that in you.
Thank you.
I would never say that to you off camera. I would never say anything nice to you off camera. I don't want to go to your head.
Off camera, he treats me like a piece of that, but here he's got to be polite.
It's because
for the viewers.
It's because it's good for you. It's good for our relationship.
I love the dynamic that we have.
So do I, man.
That I love you as a friend, obviously.
Thanks, bro.
And this is gonna sound gay. I'm very fond of you, but then our interactions are quite rough.
It's a good way. It's a good way. Just a little tough love, I would say. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. So I just asked you about a character trait that you are proud of. Mm-hmm. What is a character trait of yours that you would like to change?
It is something that I think that I'm finally moving on from or starting to change. I used to be a people pleaser because I thought that by gaining their favor, that would also grant me some sort of a benefit. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize how much I was giving up for other people's interest.
Yeah.
I would always say yes if they needed help, someone needed help. I would always say yes if someone needed a favor from me, or I did not put myself before other people's interest. And I realized over time, thanks to some people's help, obviously, some people made me realize that I was not setting my boundaries.
Right.
I was not being loyal to myself.
This is great. This is a great thing, and I think, I can relate to that as well. And it's like, as you get older, also learning to say no to things is so important.
It's paramount.
So important. And then also, actually, I was listening to a podcast this morning. Obviously, I've heard this quote many times, but I just recently heard it again, is you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can only share from what's overflowing in your cup. So to make sure, like, of course, it could sound a little selfish, but it's the truth, and everyone must do this, take care of themselves first. You can't, that's why that quote encompasses it so well, is you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yeah,
you were trying to pour from an empty cup sometimes, huh?
You have to fill yourself up before you start using the pitcher.
Super important characteristics. Okay, but you think that you are moving away from that now at this point in your life, for
definitely.
Sure. Actually, I can even
really
see
helpful, but I do not. In Spanish, we say I don't pull my pants down.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Okay. Like we would say, maybe bend over backwards.
I don't bend over backwards. Yeah. Uh-huh. Now I still try to be helpful, but nowadays I put my goals or whatever I have to do ahead of Not always, obviously.
Yeah.
There are exceptions.
But I know what you mean, right? Yeah.
I can hold my ground a little bit better.
You're not going to sacrifice or harm yourself,
exactly.
Basically. No, I know that. Exactly what you're saying. I think that's the right way to be. I have had the same thing. I've had struggles with that in the past, and like especially living here in Germany, I feel like that kind of helped me a little bit because, honestly, just because of the bluntness and directness of the German culture. Mm-hmm. Like, I used to feel guilty if I had to say no to someone or stuff like that.
They don't care.
And no.
They don't take it as
no, I can't. No, I'm not. No.
Straightforward,
yeah.
Yes.
And oftentimes in American culture and American society, it's perceived more rude to just straight up say no to someone's face, even if it's the truth. A lot of times Americans, these interactions, you prefer to be like, oh, you know what? Let me check and get back to you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then you text you. Yeah. The peach and the coconut, 100%. Mm-hmm. That's so true. Do you believe that's true? Do you find that?
So too, yes, I think so. Yeah. It's complicated because the United States, you guys are a really peculiar society. Appearance matters a lot. The car that you drive. Woman that you have beside you. Mm-hmm. Whereas Germans are a bit more straightforward, which I like. But sometimes it's complicated to get through them.
Yeah.
Like that's so, I don't want to say narrow-minded, but sometimes so square-minded.
Yeah.
That interaction. So for example, in my case, I would say that I get along better with you guys because we are more similar.
Right.
We're not that cold. Yeah.
Cold. That's the word. That's a good word. But it's more... It's like once you get to know people here, they're warm and great and open up. That's my little brother, Andy.
You ignore them for weeks, dude. People, he's never going to get back to you. Never.
I get back within a couple days.
Always. If you're interested.
Always get back in a couple days. With German people, though, once you get to know them, then they're so warm and welcoming and open up. But like American culture, you're warm and smiley and fuzzy to people you don't even know, even though it's not necessarily always real. You can.
What happens when you enter a restaurant? What do they offer you first? Water.
Oh, in the United States?
I'm Nancy. I'm gonna be your waitress today. Yeah. Everything is egg. They fall at your feet for you. Mm-hmm. But then they may not. They may be. I don't want to. I
had a. Where did I speak about this? Because I love there are these cultural differences that are true today. Of course, a lot of times they're generalizations. Of course, there's exceptions always with everything. But generally, I have found this to be true. But I always wonder, like, okay, why? How come people that grew up or in these lines behave differently than the people that grew up in these lines? And I have a theory with the United States is like, of course, we are so friendly and smiley to strangers. From my experience here in Germany, also some conversations with other Americans who have lived in Germany for a long time, there is less of a threat of violence, be it a fight, a punch in the face, or to the most extreme of like somebody has a gun.
Yeah.
That you never worry about that in Germany, and this is why there are interactions in Germany, from my American perspective, that are escalated so rudely that you would avoid in the United States because you don't want to escalate things this way, because people are more apt to punch you in the face there or worse. Whereas here, there's less of this threat, so it's okay to be colder to people. This is totally like a theory of mine, but I also, like, when I spoke with Jordan a little bit, we were talking about certain events that are held in Germany, like, for example, the beer tents, and you've got all these people packed in the beer tent together, and it's all just, for the most part, happy and celebratory, and Jordan's like, I mean, you can't have this in the United States. People will be just fighting
everything
all over.
Breaking up.
Yeah. So this is sort of my theory for perhaps why there was a little bit of a difference of behavior.
Oof.
What do you think?
You're pulling my tongue now. Okay, so let me ask you something. Okay. I'm going to be the interviewer.
Do it.
Do you think that German society is, I don't want to call it timid, milder? I've got to be really careful with the words that I utilize. Mellow.
Okay.
Is it more mellow than the American society? Woohoo.
That's interesting. There is an intensity from American society, which I do think is sort of the opposite of mellow. Yeah, because Germany is one of the most comfortable countries in the world. It's a comfortable, on average, in general, it's a comfortable society.
Comfort. Can you describe it for me?
There is a strong social safety net.
Yes.
There's things like really good unemployment, maternity
if you
leave.
fall through
all
the cracks of the system,
yeah,
you are not.
There's no. Whereas in the United States, you don't really have that. So you got to be, if you want to have any semblance of a reasonable life, you got to be like super intense. Whereas here, there's a more comfortable middle ground.
Does it also make us more complacent?
Absolutely.
Does it make us less competitive?
Absolutely.
I'm saying us as a whole in Europe.
Oh.
Comparing Europe right now, Europe with the United States.
Yeah, I would say so. I have found with my experience, especially like within sports and sports culture here in Europe, that on average Americans are much more competitive.
Much more competitive.
What do you think?
Much more driven.
What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree with that statement. And it's actually something that I would like for us to change.
Yeah.
Or for Europeans as a whole to change. It's like government is behind us, we can lay back. We're going to have our lives, we're going to have our houses, our salaries. We don't have much to worry about. Whereas in the United States, if you do not have a good living situation, you may not be able to feed your kids. If your wife, I'm talking about, or your husband has cancer and you don't have a good private insurance, what's going to happen?
Right.
Whereas here, they can rely on someone else, not saving them, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely. It's like the whole premise of the show Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
You know the show?
I've watched it.
And for those who don't know, it's a guy who gets cancer. He lives in New Mexico in the United States. He gets cancer. He doesn't have the insurance, so he starts cooking crystal meth to pay for his medical bills. And it's just like this concept is just preposterous to people in Europe. But I remember watching that when it first came out. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good solution probably.
Yes. I mean, he almost won the Nobel Prize, right?
Did he?
I believe so.
Really?
Wasn't he nominated for it?
No, Nobel Prize? You mean
something. There was something.
The acting award. The acting.
No. So, if I'm not mistaken, when he worked as a teacher,
okay,
he could have applied to something, or he could have belonged to that lady. There's a lady in the TV show with whom he has something.
Oh, you're speaking about the character.
Yeah.
Walter White.
Yes,
Walter White. Okay. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. He was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or some sort of an honorific.
Mention. Something like this. Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I
thought he wasn't taking
big.
care of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of that,
I don't know. This is just super fascinating. So, but there's pros and cons to that as a society, as a culture. I think a pro, and something that I try to take away from that, is competitiveness. But like
equates to excellence.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well,
you can be competitive and not.
Yeah. You know? But definitely, look at the most powerful companies in the world.
Right.
Where are they from?
USA, baby.
No, for real.
It is.
The things that the empire that reigns the Western world, and we could say the planet as a whole, is the United States right now, undeniably. The fact that the United States is such a ruthless, but yet so encouraging society, I think that drives people to become better. But if you do not make it, you're lost.
Yeah.
But that is the problem, that if you have 4 kids to feed, you're a single mom, or you are a single dad, and you're struggling to pay your bills, no one's going to come to help you. Whereas here, that doesn't happen. Actually, let me say something.
Okay.
I have the feeling that you guys, and I'm referring to Americans, the family problem that the United States suffers as of late has made your society let me go back.
Okay.
I have had multiple encounters with people from the United States. Most of them have been great, but I also have the feeling that US people are more, I don't want to call it problematic, but more prone to having psychological problems than Europeans because of the fragmentation that Americans or American families go through on a daily. Like in Europe, it doesn't happen that often that you are the child of someone who had also 3 kids with other men, and that man had 4 kids with another woman.
Yeah.
Like our family core is much more solid than it is in the United States. If you think about people, for example, we could pick people from the team. Mm-hmm. How many of those guys are their parents divorced?
Yeah.
Or they come from a fragmented family or household.
Yeah.
Our upbringing is much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I think can be reflected on how well or how bad society goes. I think that our society is more conformist.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we also come from a more secure background.
Yeah.
Whereas in the United States, it's like the story that Joe Rogan says, that he always tells. He's the son of 2 hippies.
Yeah.
Right? He moved like 4 times when he was little, but he's made it in life.
Yeah.
And now he's freaking a multi-millionaire. He's opened his new club.
Yeah.
But he also had to struggle. I think that in the United States, you guys struggle much more than we do, Europeans. Mm-hmm. But that may also equate to a higher rate of success in life.
Yeah. I think I agree in that, but it also equates to a higher percentage of on the low end as well. It's like the U.S. society is going like this. Just the middle seems to be fading away, and it's either you make it or you don't. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's so interesting why. I mean, we talked about this before, and this is sort of like
Can we make a little graph? Could we say that Europe is the middle fringe?
Okay.
Where's the top? The
top and the bottom.
Mm-hmm. So the United States is like, let's say that there are 3 rivers.
Okay.
One branch of the river, thin one, is at the top, which is the American top class or excellent fringe of society.
Okay.
Then there's Europe. Then I would say that is the people that have fallen through the cracks of the system in the United States. Yep. Below that comfort zone.
I would agree with that. Yep. For the most part, in terms of generally, I would certainly agree with that. I think most people would agree with that. I bet statistics agree with that as well. It's just so fascinating. Like, why? And you and I talked about this before, like American culture, and this is sort of.
I've got the answer.
I know. You want to say what I'm thinking?
Can't wait.
Okay,
no, please.
I was going to say
carry on, and then
of reasons why there are these differences, and what you and I have talked about before, and I don't know how theoretical this is or how factual this is, but it seems to make sense in my mind, is that Americans are the descendants or the people who left their home countries, whether it be from Italy or China
Ireland.
or Mexico or Ireland or India. It's just like, of course, each country has like different eras of when the majority of these people are coming over. But like Americans are the descendants of the psycho, like, fuck it, let's go to the New World place. And I think that is represented a little bit in modern day society.
Definitely.
Would you agree with this?
We cannot. This is something that nowadays we tend to obviate a lot. Mm-hmm. We cannot simply ignore the fact that our DNA is passed down generations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I'm the descendant of a guy who left his comfort zone, as I said before, his family, his whatever, or a woman, I may also inherit some of that non-aversion to risk.
Right.
I'm more prone to taking risks or starting something new in my life.
This is a great way of putting it: risk averse or risk accepting, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I think, and actually, I know this for a fact. Now I'm in a relationship with a German and seeing the way that we look at certain things, or what we different subjects that I'm more risk averse, accepting, and she would be more risk averse, like safer with. It's very clear. It's very clear. It's just, there's something, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's like basically your makeup is half environment, half genetic.
Okay.
Something like this. 50-50, you know? And maybe it's different for each person.
Take.
Give or take, but I do think that like that plays a role into the development of how somebody develops.
And the way that for example, your society, the way that it was built.
Yeah.
The way that it's still run is the most capitalistic system that we have right now.
Yeah.
And also the way that it was built. It's
so interesting how, and I've been getting so into history as I got older, how history marks or determines modern day culture and society and behaviors.
Yeah.
It's just undeniable, and it's just so fascinating.
Just think about it. And like nowadays, 21st century.
Yeah.
The least developed states in the United States are still the South.
Right.
And the most developed ones are the descendants of the
Union states. Union, yeah.
Blue, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating, man. It's
your guys' history is fascinating, even though it's short.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's fascinating.
It's so weird. Like I've heard the United States be described as an adolescent culture. Sort of like because
revoltive?
A little bit. It's like a big, strong teenage boy.
Bully.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, there's some good qualities there as well, but it's also it's what's also weird is it's the longest standing government. 1776 is we've had the same government and democracy since then. Every other country has like restarted or have a different government. Of course, German culture is so much older than the United States, but the Germany that we live in now, the state and the government.
1989.
Exactly. It's like you had one after 46 or 45 after the war ended, started in 46, but then really the Germany that we live in today started in 1989, 1990, whereas the United States started in 1776. So it's like, it's such a young culture, but it's an old state.
We should not take into account the Civil War that you guys had.
I guess that's a fair point. That is a fair point.
But because you didn't fragment. You didn't break the country.
Like we still run by the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution from the documents.
That's what amendments.
Yeah. Like we still run by those.
Yeah.
And it's like Germany doesn't run by the legislation of the Weimar Republic.
Bismarck.
Yeah.
Bismarck.
So it's an interesting thing because it's like two sides of it. On one hand, we're young. On the other hand, we're the oldest system. And I hope that I'm right here. I hope that I'm correct. If I'm wrong, sorry. But it's definitely one of... we're going to get like 4 points. It's okay. It's definitely one of the oldest systems. Fascinating, man.
Well, let's say for the Western civilization, right?
Yeah, it could be,
actually. Maybe some, like the Yan dynasty.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, but
like, I think after the world wars... So many of these empires and countries restarted.
The Brits have not been invaded since 1066.
Yeah, has the British Empire or the
United have never been
changed their
overtaken
governance system? Yeah.
Oh,
how crazy is that when you look at a map of countries? Like, you have to look at countries not invaded by Britain at one point. There's like 12.
12, yes, out of the 250. Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah.
But it's like that's
Commonwealth, dude.
Yeah, so interesting to see. Like, just this little island that got really good at boats just went around and colonized all these places.
They were smart.
It's so weird, and that's why we are speaking English right now today. Because they did that, and they went all over the world, and it made English such a popular language. So many countries speak English because of their...
If you weren't for Winston Churchill, we may be speaking German right now.
That's true. That is true.
Mein Freund.
Have you... Sollen wir
Or
Deutsch
Russian.
sprechen?
Who knows?
Have you seen the movie Darkest Hour?
No.
Winston Churchill movie?
No,
That's
I
great.
haven't.
Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill.
I'll watch it.
You're into World War II, right?
Yes.
World War II
It's my
history.
favorite topic.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I don't know, because one time I said, I love World War II in a video,
It was
and
such
someone's
a
like,
great time
you
to
psycho?
live in.
And I'm like, obviously I'm at World War II history.
History, yes.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating, and it's also, like, you see those books right over there? I'm pointing to the Ken Follett Century trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trilogy. It's historical fiction
Winter.
that
Yes,
takes
I've seen
place
that. I've
from
read that
basically 1900 to the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
And it covers 3 generations: World
Yes.
War One, World War Two,
Soldiers,
the
right?
Cold War. Soldiers, families,
Soldiers and family.
multiple families from different. It's highly recommend. That changed my whole perspective, and I feel made me learn so much about the century,
Are
the 20th century.
adverse to sharing books? Like, could I borrow one?
You have to write down.
I'll put on.
You have
latex
to
gloves.
sign a
Latex
contract
glove.
that you will return
I
it.
will not spoil it.
Because in my bedroom I have my bookshelf. And so
Okay.
collecting my books.
Because right now I'm looking for the next book.
I
Sweet.
I highly recommend that, and I could let you borrow it with a signed contract with an agreed upon punishment if you don't return
gonna be
it.
on tape.
Yeah, it's on tape right there.
Homeland Cannibal.
No, you should check that out. Fascinating subjects. This sort of cultural, demographic, history, society.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we talked about some things that characteristics of the United States. Do you have any insight on Spain? Of the development
Can you be a bit more
the
precise?
development and history of Spain and how that affects modern day behaviors.
We are okay. Thank you. You hit it right in the head. We are ashamed of our past.
Really?
Yeah.
You
We
like
do
it?
not celebrate 1492. We do not celebrate the Day of Hispanity, El Día de la Hispanidad. We are ashamed of... This is, for example, it's a current of thought that I do not agree with, that regards Spaniards as slaughterers.
Slaughterers, yeah.
Christopher Columbus is regarded as a freaking pervert, and I don't know exactly how many of those things that have been thrown upon him.
Right.
He was responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done the research.
Right.
But I think that, for example, we are extremely ashamed of the way that we conquered.
How weird is that?
600 years ago.
You say
yeah,
we.
we. And I had nothing to
I
do
know.
with it. I was born in 1994.
It's so...
Um,
That's crazy, man.
yeah.
Countries
exactly.
are crazy.
Yes.
Keep going.
The feeling of pertinence or belonging to something that happened,
Yeah.
when they were going on boats?
Uh-huh.
Was
like-
it something sailed something blue?
Yeah.
What is that? What do you guys say?
1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. His
Yeah,
ship was
nothing,
small, but he
nothing.
was brave. He dared the wind, he dared the wave.
Look at that. And you
I
guys
know
know
that.
it. And we do not have a saying like that. Because why? Because we're ashamed of what we accomplished. And people say that he even he tried to go to the Indies. So he discovered America by accident, which is true. But at the end of the day, he got there, right?
Right.
He discovered the new world. So it's actually something I don't know if you may be aware of. It's called a black legend.
Okay.
Leyenda negra. I don't know if maybe in English it's termed differently.
Okay.
It is a... How can I put it? An attempt to undermine our power. Well, God damn it. The Spanish Empire's power in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It was cast upon us by the Brits.
You could say us.
By the
Okay.
Brits, yes. To try and lessen us as us. Well, I'm gonna have to
Stay
keep
with
saying
it, man.
I'm gonna have
Stay
to keep
with
saying
it.
it. I can
Okay,
do it myself.
it's better for coherence. So.
When we were fighting, so there were 3 main powers in Europe: France, Spain, and Britain.
Side note, that's exactly what I'm reading about in one of these books also, about the tension between these 3 countries. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
And if you weren't for the Brits, well, they formulated a way to try and throw our name in the dirt, and to undermine the power of the Spanish Empire, regarding us as slavers, rapists, slaughterers, which is obviously, if you have to conquer something, how do you do it? With a sword.
Right.
But it's also true that different tribes in South America used the Spanish power to fight between each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not a lot. For example, this is something that when someone says that the Spanish Empire was formed by freaking ruthless killers, I say yes, that's true. But if we analyzed the percentage of Native Americans that is left in the United States compared to the amount of people that were killed by the swords of the Spaniards in South America, it's insignificant. Not insignificant, but just think about how many...
But that there's way more indigenous people left in South America than North America?
Yes.
Okay.
We mingled with them. Mm-hmm. We actually gave them vice kingdoms. I don't know if it's called that way in Spanish, in English.
Okay.
Vicereinados. Well, it's so you share the power with someone from the land, and you reign in a coalition.
Okay.
Which is something, is a system that was established in South America. Whereas, for example, if you think about the British, they didn't even dare touch the Aboriginals.
Right.
They didn't mingle with them. They started the caste system in India. They slaughtered everybody where they went, but no one talks bad about them. They're not ashamed of what they did in the past.
Interesting. So you think it's a
marvelous strategy,
a branding strategy, a marketing strategy of the two empires. The Brits branded and marketed themselves better and anti-branded against the Spanish.
And it was brilliant. It worked.
Yeah.
And it's still remnant. Like it prevails.
Right.
Now we do not celebrate it. There's a huge faction of our society that is against us feeling proud for having discovered America.
Right.
It's actually something that you can't even talk about sometimes.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's
I've bumped heads with a lot of people.
Really?
Yes, in Spain.
Or,
your family, you descend from the Italians, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if you had to feel sorry for what they did, the Roman legions.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Led by...
Oh, so are you saying that like people nowadays are saying that you should feel guilty
for something that happened 600 years ago?
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Yeah. Oh, that's ridiculous. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
It's as if you were...
Yeah.
What was this? Scipio.
Yeah.
Scipio was a douchebag.
Yeah.
And you should feel bad because 0.1% of your blood descends from that guy.
Yeah. You can't do that. That's absolutely ridiculous. But it's very interesting that's kind of how the marketing has gone. How did the Brits pull this off? How did they pull?
I wish I knew more about that. I don't know exactly how they did it, but if you look it up on Google, Leyenda Negra, Spanish, you'll see a full article.
Okay, interesting. What is it in English? The
Black Legend.
The Black Legend.
That's the literal translation.
Wow, that's
Leyenda Negra.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But it is so how crazy is that okay, these two empires, the British and the Spanish Empire, and now are these not besides Mandarin Chinese the two most commonly spoken languages in the world?
Mandarin, English, and then Spanish, or English, Mandarin, and Spanish.
Yeah, it's like when you look at maps of how many people speak these languages.
From Texas down to Tierra del Fuego.
Yeah.
Besides Brazil, they'll speak Spanish. And in the United States, isn't it easier for you to get a job in California if you speak both languages than if you only speak English?
I would imagine so. I mean, there's such a large Spanish-speaking population, probably. Wow, that's fascinating.
That's something that Cody Pastorino told me.
Yeah, he told you? Oh, yeah, Cody's from California, yeah.
See, for example, the Spanish flu.
Oh, yeah.
Had nothing to do with Spain.
That is actually one that I did recently learn about, of course, because this happened right after... Hole? Yeah, it's in that book. Yeah, because I actually saw that the Spanish flu might have came from Kansas.
Yes, a guy that was deployed in Europe came back to the base in Kansas, and he contracted the flu in France, I think, or in the trenches of the war. Yeah. Was it 1917?
Yeah, 1917, I believe.
1917.
Yeah. What a!
It's called the Spanish flu.
You guys need some better branding, man. You guys need to hire a good marketer. Spain needs a good marketer. How crazy is it? These people who lived through that of 1914 to 1918, World War I, just the horrible conflict, and then right after that, just terrible pandemic with the flu.
15 million people, right?
Yeah,
died.
Or something. Yeah, something
15
crazy.
Million people.
Yeah,
which was a lot back in the day.
Our lives are so easy compared to people back then. Do you agree with this or not?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm sorry, I spat on
That's
the,
okay.
on the
That's
thing.
fine.
And that's something that I believe we should run away from. Complacency.
Complacency, yeah, certainly.
We go to the supermarket, we have food. We go to our jobs, we do our work, we come back, we've got money. We have nothing, we don't have leopards trying to chase us. And that's why I think, for example, this is something that I debated myself about. I didn't know whether I should bring it up or not.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you. So, Nick, do you think that German society has become a little bit, for the lack of a better term, soft? Abstain if you don't want to answer.
I would not use the term soft.
Okay.
But I would use the term comfortable. And comfortable does have many characteristics. But I wouldn't say soft, but I would say comfortable. I feel like German society in general is much more.
Okay, let me retract my words.
Okay.
Okay. Let's take comfortable.
Okay.
For now.
What is your opinion? Would you say the word soft?
Non-confrontational.
Right.
Risk adverse. Driven, yes, to an extent, for sure they are, but I also have the feeling that they don't have that dog in them. Not that Spaniards have it, but I think that it's a little bit more obvious or present in German society. And I would blame it on what happened in 1939 until 1945.
Yeah. There's just so many things come back to how history reflects, or how modern society molds and then reflects history. This is a super interesting point that you just brought up about the risk averse of the society, because, obviously there was a big change in Schwäbisch Hall this year with football coaches leaving what I would call comforts and stability of club football with the Unicorns here in Schwäbisch Hall. A very stable, certain, kind of secure year in, year out. There's a new league that is newer, probably riskier, but it's shiny, and maybe maybe there's going to be a big pop with football. But so basically, these coaches left, right? And
players
and some players, yeah, but took the risk, took the swing. And when I talk to many people about this, I would say 95% of Americans are like, oh, yeah, of course, you got to take that chance. You got to take that swing when an opportunity like this presents itself. How could you not? You would hate yourself if you didn't take this chance, this opportunity. This is another word for risk. Chance, opportunity, risk. They're all one and the same. Whereas
reward?
Yes, high risk, high reward. Whereas 95% of German people, or people who grew up in Germany, would prefer how on earth could you take that risk? And why would you not just stick with the comfort and the security of a long-term thing, even if this is where I find a large split down opinions. But I just thought it's fascinating how, looking at this subject that kind of I'm experiencing in my life, and how different cultures, essentially, on average, generally, of course, look at the situation differently.
What am I to say?
It's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great example of the different types of thinking. Risk averse versus risk accepting. Those are hard to say.
Just think about it, Nick. If you were born a farmer,
Can't wait.
Or a peasant.
If I was born a... Okay.
Hello, Nick.
We're back.
Alfieri.
If I was born a farmer or a peasant, okay?
In the 15th century, you would die a peasant.
Yeah.
There was no way that you could aspire to become something else.
The term social mobility.
Social mobility reduced.
Yeah.
But nowadays, You can catch a plane and be in Australia in, 16 hours?
Yep.
If you've got to go to Qatar or something like that. But it's fascinating. It's fantastic, the world that we live in. Nowadays, you can be almost... I will never play in the NBA, but you can be almost anything that you want to be. And that's something that I feel that we tend to disregard quite often. Thanks to digitalization of the world. Right. Thanks to that mobility is not a problem anymore. Yeah. You can go home in 8 hours, 10?
Well, for me, about 12. West Coast. But if you're on the East Coast, 7 hours, 6 hours.
6-7 hours from here.
A journey that used to take months.
Yeah. Or if you crashed with an iceberg.
R.I.P. Titanic. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, man. It's like, it kind of comes back to our modern society we're so lucky. And Louis C.K., you know the comedian? Louis C.K.? You probably recognize him. But he has this bit where he talks about flying on an airplane and how he's flying on an airplane. He's sitting on a metal tube flying through the sky with Wi-Fi on his cell phone, and he's mad that the food's bad. And it's things are so amazing in modern society, but we take it all for granted.
Yeah.
But it's so hard not to when you can't compare it to something. We're so adaptive human beings. It's like if you take a person from the 1500s and spat them in modern society, oh shit, this is incredible, this is all so awesome. But in 6 months or in a year, maybe 5 years, they get used to everything.
Yeah.
And it's not special to them anymore. No. This is what happens with everything. If you buy a new car or get a new
the next one.
Yeah.
Why do we buy an iPhone 14?
Yeah.
When the iPhone 11 works just fine.
The adaptive nature of human beings. But what I wanted to get what I wanted to dive into when you were talking about some of this stuff and kind of the openness of the world today is, like you said, you can be almost anything you want to be in modern society. You can be born down here. You can die up here.
Yes.
You can climb. You can fall. You can stay horizontal or lateral. I've been looking up and learning about, and because I've felt it a little bit, the phenomenon of OverChoice in modern society. They say
such a wide spectrum, right?
Such a wide spectrum. If you are trying to buy let's say a sweatshirt. Okay. You're going to try and buy a sweatshirt, and you have access to 1,000 different sweatshirts. And you pick one, you're going to feel more regret, even though you had so many more opportunities and so many more options. You're going to feel more regret than if you only had 5 options or 2 options of the sweatshirt.
Okay.
Because there's almost endless opportunities, and that means that if you're not satisfied with what you pick, it's your fault. Because there was...
Okay. So you're the culprit. Imagine that you were born in 1950.
Okay.
And your life goal was to have a beautiful household, have a wife, 4 kids, 2 cars, and vacation by the beach.
Yeah.
And that's what you set your mind to, right? Once you accomplished it, you felt fulfilled. Nowadays, we ask much more from life. And if we do not get to those goals, we feel completely unfulfilled and unsatisfied.
That's
because there are way many more things to do. The boomer generation built the world that we live in. And now we are tweaking it. Yeah. Now the Gen Z or the millennials or whatever we are called, we are reluctant to just accept in the way.
What do you feel like us modern people demand out of life that previous generations did not?
I think that it all roots from the state of welfare and comfort that our parents built. Since we do not have to fight for our bread every single day, we can afford entertaining other ideas. Call it, or maybe seeking meaning in life, or doing something different, not just having a regular job.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I feel like so many people in our generation are not just, and this might be supported by studies and data as well. I I've heard something about this, but that for the younger generation, purpose and meaning in work is much more important than having of course you want to have a steady, stable job, but purpose and meaning is so much more prioritized that young people want to be fulfilled in their work. There's comedy skits about this of like Gen Z people, sitting on a beanbag at Google getting paid $400,000 a year, and they're like, I don't want to work on this. Like, I'm not fulfilled with this. Why am I? What's the point?
Yeah. They feel empty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doomed?
No, we'll bounce back. We will, for sure. Don't give up on us yet.
What will make you
old heads?
What will make you have a fulfilled life, Javier?
Laying on my deathbed one day, surrounded by my loved ones, and being able to look back on my life and not regretting what I did with it.
Javier!
This is it.
Thanks a lot, man. This was a very enjoyable conversation.
I had a great time.
I hope we do it many more times.
I'll be up until the 15th of October. I will definitely be here.
Perfect.
And we'll see.
Thanks a lot, man. That's it.